Hey there, thanks for clicking Simplified, a place where the sun shines so bright I can't even read the words on my paper. Today's topic is Christianity, so prepare your prayers, be away with sin, and let's dive into this. Christianity is an Abrahamic religion, which means they believe in the practices of the ancient Israelites and worship the God of Abraham. More on them some other time. So the story starts with Jesus. Not that one. No, that's actually Cesare Borgia. Okay, that'll work. Or this one if you want to follow geographics. He was born in Bethlehem between 6 and 4 BC. Not much is known about his life before ministry, except a few stories of him being taken with his parents to Egypt to avoid execution when he was a baby, and him getting separated from his parents in Jerusalem, only for them to find him in the church speaking and discussing religious matters with priests with a great understanding at only the age of 12. So, in a nutshell, he was an extremely wise child, respected as a savior by some. When Jesus was around 30 years old is when he began teaching his wisdom to others. He prepared his first miracle when at a marriage party. During the festivities, the party ran out of wine, so Jesus' mother Mary came to him. At first, Jesus was hesitant to help, as his service to the Lord is more important to him rather than his service to his earthly parents. But after enough pleas, he gave in. He ordered servants to bring him 6 jars full of water. After waving his hand a little, the water became wine of the highest quality. This attracted many followers to Jesus who saw him as the Son of God. Afterwards, he traveled the land performing many miracles, including, but are not limited to, healing the blind, healing the deaf, reviving the dead, calming storms with only a few words, feeding 5,000 people with only a few fish and a loaf of bread, removing demons from people's souls, walking on water, feeding an additional 4,000 people with a few pieces of bread, and his amazing use of parables. He grew more famous in the land until some bad people started to plot on ways to kill him, and they were able to get Judas, one of Jesus' 12 disciples, to betray the Savior. After having a delicious supper, Judas brought the authorities to Jesus and said, "The man I kiss is Jesus of Nazareth." He then proceeded to lay a smooch on JC and the authorities arrested him. The Son of God foreseen all of this and allowed himself to be taken away. He was brought before a governor named Pilate, sent to be sentenced to death. But the governor could find no fault with him. The angry crowd of people who wanted Jesus dead became more and more rambunctious until the governor basically said, Fine, you guys do it, but I had nothing to do with this mess. So they took Jesus to a hill and made him carry his own cross all the way up. He was then beaten, tortured, and crucified. Amongst his final words were, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they are doing." He was buried, and a rock was placed in front of the cave that he was buried in, so I'm guessing no one could get in and no one could get out. But that's just it. Like a Christmas miracle, 3 days later, Jesus came back from his famous resurrection and ascended into heaven. And from that, you got yourself a whole New Testament and a religion worthy of a couple of crusades. So, what can we learn from all of this? Lesson 1. The power of faith and commitment. I'd like to add that all of Jesus' miracles occurred by faith, meaning that if the person Jesus was helping didn't believe he can be helped, then it wouldn't have worked. Faith alone isn't always enough, though. When Jesus was walking on water through a storm to meet his disciples on a boat, he asked one of them to meet him out on the water. The disciple had faith in Jesus and began walking towards him on the water until the storm let out a roaring thunder. This scared the disciple and he quickly fell into the water which he was standing on, to which Jesus saved him. Imagine what would have happened if he would have stayed committed to his faith. Translation: if you don't believe in something, be it a god, an idea, or yourself, then it doesn't exist in your perspective. Think of it this way: many of us want to lose weight, but we can't see ourselves taking the needed steps to do so. Our lack of faith in ourselves is among the only things at times that are holding us back. Though faith alone is a successful start, us being committed to seeing our goals through the storms and trials, through the ups and downs, is when we begin to see our own little miracles manifest. I'm not advocating that we should be willfully ignorant. I'm simply saying that a little bit of faith can take us a long way. Lesson 2. Success and sacrifice. Hey Reznov, you want to handle this one?
Victory cannot be achieved without sacrifice, Mason. We Russians know this better than anyone. Prepare yourself!
Thanks, Reznov. The Bible has the word sacrifice written all over it. From Jesus sacrificing his life, to God giving his only son, to the disciples giving all their time and energy to their teacher. It's like a sacrifice potluck. So much so that when later followers of this belief were prosecuted against, well, I'm sure we all heard the stories of Christians being fed to lions and all. According to their belief, the greater victory to be won will be when they're upon God's kingdom, rather than abandoning their faith and, well, not getting eaten by a lion. How can we possibly translate this without completely succumbing to the religious belief? I got you. We all want to be successful, and we all have different goals we want to achieve. Thing is, we often get so caught up in the outcome that we tend to forget about the process that it takes to get there. For example, if we want to be a famous musician, we may have to dedicate way more time, energy, capital than we ever thought to preparing just to play a single solo. And it's important to not let that catch us off guard because we're too busy worried about the groupies, the fans, the cash, or whatever have you. The more we're prepared to sacrifice is the more we're dedicated to seeing our goals through. Lesson 3. You must die to live again. Whoa. Yeah, I know. But before you write me off, try to follow me on this one. Jesus lived his life according to his Father, the Lord. He was crucified, died, and came back to life 3 days later to complete his work in his Father's kingdom. Jesus left his earthly life and ascended. Translation changes everything. It's against nature to hold on to something forever. If you were to hold on to a stagnant, unchangeable view of yourself in the past, you only stagnate your own world. To let those previous views of yourself die and allow new views to be created is to live anew. Think of it this way. If your world and everything in it is your perspective, changing how you view it affects you dramatically, and that sometimes means letting go of the old views. I'll quote Bruce Lee, "To learn to die is to be liberated from it." And that, my fellow perspectives, is Christianity Simplified. Like so many other religions, there are many more spiritual lessons that are offered, but I'll leave those for you to uncover. Like and subscribe to this channel for a chance to win this thorn-filled hat. All yours for 3 small payments of your eternity in afterlife. Bye now.